Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are focusing in on one of the more difficult, complex, and layered attributes of a narcissist, a borderline narcissist, or even a psychopathic individual who is emotionally manipulative. And you have found yourself in an encounter, a relationship, an association with these types of people, and you're feeling that something is amiss, something is wrong, something is not right, and you are feeling uncomfortable. You are feeling under the gun. You are feeling basically what is known as projection, or more importantly, false accusation. These individuals tend to use the defense mechanism of false accusation to those individuals in their environment in order to violate, perpetrate, and essentially provoke, which means start or cause conflict, argument, and more importantly, anger in the individual with whom they are targeting. And this sort of false accusation can be a constant feeling that you are under the gun and constantly really kind of on trial, is what is basically known in the psychological community as feeling basically constantly under the gun, feeling like you are constantly on trial, or as if you have something about you is then provoked into feeling angry and then defensive, and then basically the internalized message from this emotional manipulation is that you are broken, that there's something just inherently wrong about you, and it keeps you feeling stuck. Basically, not only confused, but feeling like you are constantly being interrogated, questioned, and not really validated or heard, and importantly, respected as an individual. So this feeling of projection, of negativity, and these false accusations are a way for the borderline, for the narcissist, for the psychopath to control and have power over others. And oftentimes it's a projection of their own insecurities. And oftentimes they will engage in what is called blame shifting, where they'll put all the responsibility onto you. Everything is wrong because of you. You can't do anything right. You are too slow. You are too fast. You are to this. You are to that. Everything is a blame shift. Everything is a pointing of a finger. And this is nothing more than a defense mechanism from a manipulative, borderline narcissist or psychopathic individual who uses these messages to try to get you under their control, trying to get you into a feeling of basically that you are broken, that there's something wrong with you, and then instantly you are then under their erroneous messages. So this is a very insidious thing, not only to detect, but to heal, understand, and work through. So once you are able to realize and identify that these defense mechanisms from the cause, the provoking of a personality disordered individual to try to get you to basically be silenced, to be stuck, to be hit you under the knees, basically, to get you to fall prey and listen to them. It's almost, I think the effect is almost like a zombie effect. It's a very silencing in the other party where they feel that they are broken. And so, of course, if you are broken, you can't function. You can't speak up. You can't, quote unquote, defend yourself, or you're constantly feeling like you have to defend yourself. But really, more importantly, what tends to occur then, especially at the psychopathic level, is the gaslighting, which basically makes you feel like you are the crazy one. And these are nothing more than erroneous messages. And it has nothing to do with truth. It has nothing to do with reality. It has nothing to do with who you are. It has nothing to do with your feelings or your values or your perspective as a person. It is basically meant as a psychological tool to get you into self-doubt, to get you painted into a corner, feeling uncomfortable, and unable to really engage in discussion with these individuals. So it's a personality disorder trait, and it is something that is very difficult because a lot of people tend to originally want to engage with these people because they could be a family member, they could be a boss, they could be your lover, it could be your spouse. And so the issue is that inherently you need or want to communicate with them in a loving manner. You want to have a warm conversation with them. You want things to get along. You want your relationship to function. You want to arrive at a solution. Well, if someone is constantly trying to falsely accuse you, you this, you that, and then, the blame shifting, you basically don't have a leg to stand on. And this is a manipulation tactic and very much very typical of these types of individuals. It is very much a pattern in their relating to people. And the people who find themselves with these individuals will go oftentimes for weeks, months, years with feeling this discomfort and maybe even believing their erroneous messages. Believing I am faulty, I am broken, I am misfit, I am something wrong with me, and I am worse than, I am less than, and there's no hope for me. You begin to then have what's called in the psychological community a learned helplessness, because this basically gets beaten into people, repeatedly by these individuals, and it's a very insensitive thing. Most people would say that is rude. And so basically, but if you're in a relationship with these people, oftentimes people don't have the footing or the understanding that they need as to why this is engaging, and it can be very stressful. It can cause a lot of stress, anxiety, then resultant depression, a feeling of defeat. And oftentimes, people who are married with these individuals take the beating repeatedly, while they then, try to split and then, talk negatively about those people who have been very good to them. They talk negatively about those people who have been very supportive, who have been very loving, who have been there for them in their times of need. It's like they don't even see, the real you. They are not capable of validating you in this positive manner. Even though you have been supportive, loving, caring, understanding, listening, they're not able to validate that. And that's part of the personality disorder, is a lack of empathy. So if you're engaging in this, and this person is quite insensitive, extremely cold in this manner, that is who they are. And then they tend to also catastrophize things, overly find the negative in everything, very controlling to a pathological sense. So this, you have to realize that you are you and you are free. You are not controlled by this individual. It's very important for you to understand that this is their tactic, this is their manipulation, this is how they engage with others. And they particularly will hone in and target and scapegoat basically those individuals who are have the qualities in abundance which they do not possess. So, those people who have integrity, those people who have a heart, those people who are sensitive, those people who are warm, those people who don't want to live an ultra stressful lifestyle, they tend to really focus in on those people. And oftentimes it's a resultant of an envy, actually, of those individuals. And you present as a threat to them because you put them into a situation where they're not able to relate or engage. They're not comfortable. They don't have the ability. They don't have that ability to attach, to bond, to love. Oftentimes because they need to maintain this sense of superiority. They need to maintain this sense of being the one who is right, the one who's in control. It's a one-way street. It's a one-way relationship. It's their way, basically, period, end of story. And, they will tend to then falsely accuse those individuals who present with their own individuality, uniqueness, sensitivity, and truth. So if you have found yourself, in the midst of these, just let them go. Do not continue to battle. Let them go, and do not engage in communication, even though you might want to, even though you might desire it, even though it might be required. you need to realize really, I guess, what you're dealing with these individuals, and realize that oftentimes there's not going to be a middle ground. There is not going to be, your ideal, because chances are if you're with these people, you can be very supportive, very idealistic, very solution oriented, and you're trying to be yourself with these individuals, and they just won't have it. They're just not going to be able to accept you, or really, as my social worker friend, they're not going to really be able to enjoy you for the real you. And that's what's very sad. So that's why you have to pick up yourself, get yourself out of there, and begin to really be you and be free. Liberate yourself from the ensnared, from the constantly feeling on trial, constantly feeling like you're being judged, and basically you feel, people often feel judged. It's like you're constantly on trial. It's almost like you feel like you're in a very tense, hostile, negative state, and like you're on trial, like literally, you're stepping before the judge, and it feels very much like a life or death situation when you're with these people, because they want to make you feel guilty, wrong, broken, so that they can control you. And this, remember, is their plight. This is, who they are. This is how they engage. And if you have gotten into a situation where you're constantly seeing that's just who they are, and you're putting up with it, you're enabling it and then inviting that maltreatment. So be very careful, protect yourself. Realize that this is how these people interact, and if it's not pleasant for you, if it's not supportive and nurturing of you, and you're not receiving that fulfillment, then it's best that you let them go and you accept it. You are you, and you are free, and just cut the ties with these individuals, and realize that the healing and the validation is going to come from within, and it's going to get better and better with each and every day that you pronounce that commitment to yourself and living basically your truth, by your values and by your kindness and your generosity. And furthermore, protect yourself in that, and only share and give yourself with those people who are willing to respect and have empathize for you, and don't put you under this sort of false accusatory defense mechanism in a relationship. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.